Hey, what's going on? It's the Bearded Realtor back at you again with a video. Hey, so in today's video, we're going to talk about hurricanes and how hurricanes have affected Florida here in the past few years. We were just hit by a devastating hurricane, Hurricane Ian, and we want to talk more about how hurricanes have really affected us in the last few years. I know a lot of people want to move to Florida. Hurricanes are just a part of living in Florida and just something that's become normal to living in the state for the past 5 years. So we're gonna get into that, so stay tuned right after this. All right, so as I said before, I'm the Bearded Realtor, better known as Maurice Murphy, Realtor here in Jacksonville, Florida. And so what we're gonna talk about, as I said before, is hurricanes. But before I get into today's video, what we talk about on this channel is we talk about Jacksonville real estate and we talk about beers, of course. All right, so last week or a couple weeks ago, we were hit with a major hurricane. Hurricane Ian devastated a lot of people's homes, caused a lot of damage down here in Florida. And so I hear a lot that people don't want to move to Florida because of hurricanes, and I completely get it. This is not a video to try to sway you to move to Florida. This is not a video to try to get you to see the better side of having a hurricane. It really is no better side of hurricanes. But I want to give you some context of the amount of hurricanes come through Florida, and we're going to start off with the past 6 years. So in the past 6 years, we have been hit or grazed by 6 hurricanes. We had 2 in 2016, which was Herman and Matthew. 2017, we were hit with Irma. 2018, we were hit with Michael. 2019, Dorian. And then in 2022, we were hit with, as I said before, Hurricane Ian. So here's some more context to that. So prior to that hurricane in 2016, it had been about 10 years since we had a hurricane here in the state of Florida. 10 years, a very long time. And not to mention we had 3 years between 2019 and 2022. So that's just to break down a few contexts for you. I mean, granted, Hurricane Ian has been the deadliest hurricane to hit the United States since Hurricane Katrina, over 100 deaths. The majority of the deaths come from the storm surge or flooding. They don't come from the actual hurricane itself. They come from all the rain, wind, and the storm surge that we get in conjunction with the hurricane. That's a little bit of context to give you an idea of how many times we get hit with a hurricane. 6 hurricanes in the last 6 years. Definitely devastating when we do get hit with a hurricane. That's why it's recommended to have all the supplies and everything you need to endure the hurricane if you decide not to evacuate. But most of the time, if it's gonna be a definite strike to Florida, most people are evacuating. And then so many things come into play with a hurricane. It turns away and goes away from Florida. And then sometimes, like last week, it definitely hits us. And it's heartbreaking when it happens. But what I would say to you is, if you're gonna move to Florida, just be prepared to endure a hurricane or two. So hurricane season from June 1st to November 30th. So every year we know it's coming and we know what to expect. We're gonna probably have a hurricane. Whether they're gonna hit us or not, it's all up to Mother Nature and what happens. So, as I said before, this video is not to sway you to move to Florida and say, hey, we don't have hurricanes, because that's just not the truth. We definitely have hurricanes, and hurricanes devastate our state every time they come through. So, I would just say be wise when you decide to move to Florida, and just understand that hurricanes are part of living in Florida. I would also say living in the Midwest, tornadoes are part of living in the Midwest. I would say living in up north, blizzards and nor'easters are part of living in those areas. Living in California, you're susceptible to wildfires. So there's really nowhere that you're not susceptible to Mother Nature's wrath. And Florida just happened to be one of those states as any other state. All right, so that's all I really wanted to come on here, give you a little context of what's been going on in Florida, how the hurricanes have affected us, how many hurricanes we've had in the past few years. And as I said before, we haven't had a hurricane. It had been a 10-year span from 2005 to 2016 since we had a hurricane. And then we had a small break between 2019 and 2022 before we had a hurricane. Ian just really devastated us this time. So, and we've had hurricanes that do that. So just beware that moving to Florida, you just got a hurricane. So that's all I have for you today. As I said before, I'm the Bearded Realtor. If you're liking the content I'm putting out on the channel, click the link below and subscribe to the channel and give me that thumbs up, okay? So that's all I have for you today. Bearded Realtor, Maurice Murphy, Realtor, and I'll talk to you soon.